So we have our temperature readings now added to the online cloud database, which is Firebase. And in there you've got your temp 20 and your temp 20 and different things like that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring those temperatures back to our website and show them live on our website. So to do that, go to any online editor that you like, or you can do it in your own notepad. It doesn't matter what way you want to do it. I'm going to go to HTML, CSS, and I'm going to call this display live temps. So that's the name I'm going to go with there, display live temps, and I've even spelled display around there, so display live temps. So create REPL, and as you'll see when you do this, you will get some boilerplate code coming up in HTML. So what we're given here is we're given index.html, we're given a script which we're going to be using as well, an external scripting JavaScript sheet page. And we have some boilerplate code in here, so we'll see if we can make this a little bit bigger so you can follow along the coding there. Okay, so I don't want to make it too big, so I want to be able to see it there. Okay, so some of this stuff, do we need it or not? Well, it is important for things like accessibility and understanding on all the different platforms, so I am going to leave it there. You'll notice that all that kind of meta information is in the head of your HTML page, at the head section, and you've also got a link here to an external style sheet. We have no styling done whatsoever at the moment, but down here in the body, this is the one that we're going to be really concerned about, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to leave this script tag in there as well, because we are going to be connecting to our script JavaScript page, which has nothing in it at the moment. So let's start off and let's create the area for housing our temperatures. So I'm going to use what is known as a text area element. And in the text area element, what you've got is, it's a good way of displaying stuff where you might have lots of things in it. So we're going to make it size rows equals 20. Again, you can play around with this if you want. You can make it bigger than 20, smaller than 20. Columns equals around 25, and just let's run that now and see what it looks like. So you can see here you get this kind of box, maybe blow it up a bit into a full page, this kind of box which actually corresponds to 20 rows and 25 columns. So 20 rows, 1, 2, 3, all the way going down there. If you make it bigger and play around with it, you'll see that it can become bigger and not. Now, we want to be able to target this text area in our JavaScript page, and the way we do that is we use an attribute known as, so remember your attribute comes in the form name and value. We've already used it for rows. There's his name and in the value in between these double quotes. So the text area name, we're going to use an ID, and an ID is a special type of attribute. It's an actual, our tag name that we're going to target in JavaScript, and we've got an actual command in JavaScript that says get element by ID, and we're going to call this here our all temp there. Now this is a really important name here. This is going to be the kind of tag name that, like if you were hooking a salmon or that, this is the hook going into the mouth, and how we're going to target this particular text area element there when we go at it. So that's fine, and we're also going to put in there a BR tag just to move down a couple of spaces. We're going to put in 2 of them. Then we're going to put in add in a button. Just put in a comment here. Add in a button. It's important to put in comments to describe the stuff that's going on. And for the button, so a button comes in here as this, and the type of button is going to be a button. There is 3 types when you're using the button type, but one type is just the button itself. And what we're going to do is basically when we click the button, so we're going to give this event handler here attribute, that when we click the button, we're going to call a function called getData. Okay, and we need to write this in a moment or shortly, but we're creating that, setting it up, and then we close off the start of that button. And in here we're going to say on the button, I'm going to call it Man United for the moment, and we'll change this in a moment. and finish off your button tag. So if I just run that now, and again, we see it in this page might be a bit bigger and easier to see. I've called the button Man United, and that's not great. I don't really want to call it Man United. I want to call it something else. So I'm going to go back in there and say retrieve temperatures. So retrieve temps maybe might be a good name. And if I refresh this page here now, you can see that retrieve temps is back. We're back in the game there. And yeah, so that's all fine. And what we'll do now is in the next page, we will go and connect to our Firebase, and then we will have the code to, when we click the button, what's going to happen.